panel of speakers who is going to tell us how to manage and how to live life fruitfully. We have with us today a panel of 5 members: Cosmina Lenguian from Romania, Stuart Foster from UK, Larry Lesaik from US, Neeru Verma and Rashmi Sharma from India. Thanks to our member Rashmi Madam for organizing this, for the members of Bombay Management Association and others who are interested in this activity. I am very happy to welcome you all, especially the speakers for the day, to Bombay Management Association. Bombay Management Association is the oldest association in India of management professionals, which has been around to develop the quality of managers that we have in India. Since 1954, we had been involved and engaged in development of management fraternity in India. Thank you for joining us today and look forward to a very fruitful discussion for our members and non-members who have joined. Today, I have a very pleasant task to do, and that is one of our members, Mr. T.U. Shenava, has donated to BMA a generous donation, and we would like to thank him. Mr. Shenava, I don't know whether you are in the meeting today, but we thank you from our bottom of our hearts that you have valued the efforts that the management association is doing, and we give you a salute through this video which the secretariat members have made. I will request Hoini to please play the video. Mr. Shenava always joins us on our webinars. He had been part of Leader Next program also, and his very initiative to ask questions and discussion and sharing his experiences has always added value to the program. So we thank Mr. Shenava for the gracious donation that he has given. And now we can start with our program for today. I will introduce first the speaker for the day. Mr. Stuart Foster, a hypnotherapist from United Kingdom. After a successful 35 years corporate career at a global IT company, Stuart Foster founded Unscrambled Heads Limited. Stuart provides a confidential space for executives, corporate professionals, and students to explore life and career transformation journeys. He is a master hypnotherapist, and using hypnosis, his clients unlock their hidden emotions, feelings, fear, and full potential. The objective of this webinar is to do the same thing: identify yourself, identify your potential, and try and live to the fullest. Give your time to yourself and give time to the organization you are working for, and make most of it in your life. I'll request Stuart to start his presentation and give us the introduction, how he has used hypnotherapy for making people aware about their own potentials. Over to you, Stuart.
Great, thank you, Kavita. I'm just going to share my screen. Could you give me a nod, Kavita, that you can see my screen that I've shared? Good, thank you.
We can see your screen.
Perfect, thank you very much. And let me just have a think what I'm doing here. Move that over there, good. Okay. So hopefully you can still see that. So firstly to Rashmi, Kavita, and the members of the Bombay Management Association, thank you for inviting me to share some thoughts with you today. So I'm going to be sharing a few random and linked ideas with you today. I'm going to be sharing these linked ideas for you to ponder and consider around the thoughts that I'm going to be sharing today. Thoughts and ideas around what is reality? How do we think about reality? What we think about reality, how does that impact our emotions? And then because of our emotions, that then impacts ultimately the experience that we have. So as Kavita introduced me, so I'm Stuart at Unscrambled Heads. I'm currently focused on burnout, so corporate burnout in the workplace, but I am a high performance coach. I work with corporate professionals, executives, and I also do a lot of work with pre-college students and also university college students as well. I'm based in the UK. I do all of my coaching sessions via Zoom, or Teams, or other virtual capabilities. Could I ask people to go on mute, please? Or if the organisers can put participants into mute, that would be great. And I am a multi-modality coach. So what that means is that I have a bedrock of training around modern and applied psychology, and I use techniques from NLP, life coaching, hypnotherapy, mindfulness, and counselling when I am having sessions with corporate professionals, executives, and students. And right now, I have a series of videos, training videos, information sharing videos, which I titled Burnout Bounce Back Ability, which I just released this week, or started to release this week, which is all about resolving and preventing this thing called burnout in the corporate workplace. So that's a little bit about myself. So the focus for today is going to be around our thinking. Could I ask everybody to go on mute, please? Thank you. So our thoughts, and here you can see a picture of a lemon, and you may think to yourself, "Oh, that lemon smells very good," or you may think to yourself that that lemon doesn't smell so good. And both of those thoughts will actually impact our overall experience. So could I ask people to go on to mute, please? So I want to share with you a story, a personal story about myself. So about 4 years ago, I had what I term a mini major health episode. And as part of my recovery from that, I had to do a fair amount of aerobic exercise, or I was recommended to do some aerobic exercise. And that started off as being walking around my local neighborhood for 100 meters, 200 meters, eventually culminating in walking 5, 6, 7, 8 miles in one go. And then the thought started.
I request all of you to please mute yourself.
Thank you. So the thought started to enter into my mind about whether I could do a half marathon, or whether I couldn't do a half marathon. And those were thoughts that I was personally having. And both of those realities are right. The thought of, hey, yes, I can do a half marathon, or the thought of, no, I can't do a half marathon. And both of those thoughts are equally valid, because they are based around my current reality, the facts of how my walking, how my running was going, but they will also be based around my beliefs, my experiences from when I was 10 years old, 20 years old, around my values and around things much more deep inside me called my self-concept. So both of those thoughts would be equally valid. And a few months later, probably about 5 months later, I actually completed that half marathon, and that actually confirmed that I was able to do that half marathon. But in the moment, 5 months previous to me actually completing that half marathon, both of those thoughts that I can complete it or I can't complete it were equally valid. Now, I believed that I could complete it because it was based around current reality, facts, my beliefs, my experiences, and who I am at my very, very core. But whatever I believed at that time was the truth. And my truth at that particular point in time was I could complete that half marathon. So this is where thoughts are very, very important to ultimately our end experience. So here's a different perspective on that same topic. And you see, I'm just kind of throwing in a few thoughts and ideas for you to ponder on. So I've chosen cricket here because I know India is a very positive cricket loving nation. I'm also a cricketer. I played a lot of cricket in my youth, and I've gone back to playing cricket in the past 5 or 6 years. But if you don't know cricket, this is just a picture of a cricket sporting incident. And let me just explain it. The batter on the right-hand side, the person in blue, is potentially going to be out or not out, and the wicketkeeper on the left-hand side in black or very, very dark blue is trying to get the batsman out. And the rule is that the batsman, the person in blue, has to have a part of their body, in this case their back foot, somewhere behind the white line. Not on the white line, but some part of that needs to be behind the white line. So here it is. Here is an image. I would ask all of you to get yourself directly in line with the white line, so that we are all looking at exactly the same image. So you're not sort of like looking at the batsman's head. You're not over here looking at the wicketkeeper. You are directly in line with that white line. So we are now all looking at the same image. But here's my question to you. Are we all experiencing that reality exactly the same? We are all looking at it from the same position, but do we all see the same thing? So just for you to consider, the image that I will be seeing today for Stuart will be different from the image that I would have seen when I was 20 years old, so 30, 40 years ago, because my eyesight has degraded in those 30, 40 years. So maybe I am less able to distinguish dark colors on the bottom of the shoe, the white line, the kind of lightness of the grass, the greeny browny grass. So some of the imagery actually that I see today maybe not quite as sharp as it was 20, 30 years ago. So actually my own factual reality of this image is going to be different based on if I looked at it 20 years ago to whether I look at it today when I'm 58, 59 years old. Just consider that. The image is exactly the same, but the small details will be different from what I can pick up on. And now I want you to consider something else about this picture. So the thing I want you to consider about this picture is, and if I could ask everybody still to go back on mute, if you can, please, is to consider that I only picked this picture out this morning, actually. The batsman, the person in blue, is Indian, is an Indian cricket player, and the wicketkeeper, the person in the dark blue black, is Australian. And does that make a difference to your picture of the reality as to whether this batsman is in or out? If you were in that moment, in that game, on the sidelines, and this game is being played real time, would you be saying that this batsman is in or out based on your nationality? I might be Australian. I might be looking at this going, oh, he's clearly out. It's clearly out. Because my reality is based around my desire for an Australian victory, if I was Australian. Yeah. Really, really interesting, isn't it? That our reality can change based on pure factual. 20 years ago, 30 years ago when I was 20 to here I am, 58, 59, and based around other things as well, our beliefs, our values, our self-concept, our prior life, our earlier life experiences, all from this same picture. So is he out or is he not out? Really interesting question. Same image, maybe different responses. So the mind will see what the mind wants to see. The mind will see what the mind wants to see. If I am Australian, actually, I'll take a different example. If I'm a wicketkeeper, and I've been watching a bit of cricket recently, and wicket-keeping has come on so much these days. They are so quick. And if I'm a wicket-keeper and I'm looking at this and I'm going, I know how fast that wicket-keeper's got to be doing his stuff to get this batsman out. I may side on the fact that this batsman here is out because his foot isn't behind the line. Really, really interesting the way in which our values and our experiences and our whole life experience may intercept what is true for this particular instance. And by the way, I have no idea whether that batsman was given out or in this particular example, but really, really interesting around thoughts and perceptions and perceived reality. And if you were in that moment, and let's say that I was Australian watching this game, and suddenly this batsman was given not out, I would be really disappointed, really angry, because I believed he was out and the decision was given not out. And therefore you can see how just that perception of reality is changing my emotion, and that emotion is changing my whole life experience, to do this in moment example here around, in this particular example, sport, but you can see how you could relate that moving on. So I think I've probably got about 5 minutes left. So I want to do another little thing for you. So we're going to think about lemons, and I just need to stop sharing the screen. Okay, so I'm back. So hopefully everybody can see. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm going to be doing, but if not, you can listen along and you should be able to do it. So I'm just going to hold up my lemon. This is a little exercise that I do as part of my hypnotherapy intake sessions. So don't worry, I'm not going to be doing any hypnosis on you. In fact, you have to take yourself into hypnosis. I can't just click my fingers and you suddenly go into hypnosis. But this is just a very gentle thing that I do as part of an introduction to a hypnotherapy session. So here is a lemon, right? If I bring it closer to the camera, for those of you who've got their cameras on, you may be able to see that it's a slightly mottled effect. You will know it's yellow in color, and you may be able to see as I squish it. Hopefully, if I bring it, you might be able to see it's slightly squishy. This is actually quite a hard lemon, but it's slightly squishy. And I have to move to the side here. I can feel the weight if I do that to it. I can feel the weight. My wrist kind of bends as I do this. There's a little bit of weight to this lemon. And now I'm just going to bring the lemon up to my nose. Really, really lemony, really lemony, really lemony. And I can feel something happening to the back of my throat here. I can feel something happening to the back of my throat here. So now what we're going to do in the last kind of 3-4 minutes is I want to play with your imagination now. So what I'm going to be doing in your imagination, and you're going to have to really, really use your powerful imagination here, is I'm actually going to throw this lemon to you. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to throw it to you. I'm going to go 3, and it's going to be flying through the internet over to you. And I want you to catch it in 2 hands like this. Catch it in 2 hands. And as you catch it, I'm going to be doing this in a minute, so you don't need to do that right now. I'm going to tell you when I'm going to do it. So you're going to catch it like this, and when you do that, I just want you to close your eyes, and then just imagine that you caught the lemon in your hands. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to throw the lemon to you. You're going to catch it. It's going to go into your hands. So here we go. So we're going to do it for real now. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3. Here comes the lemon. Catch it in your hands. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, and just imagine now that you've got that lemon in your hands. You're cupping your hands around the lemon. And now what I'd like you to do is just to imagine that you roll the lemon into your dominant hand. It may be your right hand, it may be your left hand. It doesn't matter whichever hand you roll the lemon into. So you're just now holding your lemon in one hand. And you can put your other hand down, but still keep the other hand kind of holding your lemon. And now feel the weight of that lemon in your hand. Feel the weight of the lemon in your hand. Maybe give it a bit of a squish. See how squeezy that lemon is. See how squeezy that lemon is. And now what I'd like you to do is use your powerful imagination to bring that hand with the lemon up to your nose and take a big, big breath of it. Smell it. Yeah, lemony. Just one more time. Yeah, lemony. And now what I'd like you to do is just imagine that you're going to take a big, big bite out of the lemon, as if you were, but you're not really going to, but as if you were going to take a big, big bite out of that lemon. Yeah, and I can feel that saliva now. And finally, what I'd like you to do now is to, with the lemon in your hand, is I'd like you to take that lemon in your hand and put it down on the desk in front of you or some flat surface, still with your eyes closed. Just put it down onto a flat surface nearby and just leave it there. Just leave it there, and then you can open your eyes. I had no idea how many people joined in then. Okay, so I'm just going to ask a question to the people that I can see, just with a show of hands. How many people could actually feel the lemon in their hand? How many could you feel the lemon in your hand? Yeah, a few of you. How about could you squish it? Maybe you could squish it. I'm wondering how many people could smell it. I wonder how many people could smell it. And I wonder how many people could taste it. How many people could feel some reaction in the back of their throat, or maybe some extra saliva being generated as a result of going to take a big bite out of it. And now what I want you to consider is, I want you to point to where you put the lemon. So my lemon is just here. You can't see it, but it's just down. So my lemon is just there. I want you to all to point to it. So point to your lemon. Okay, that's good. That's good. Again, I can't see everybody, but I know that I do have some people. Excellent. Thank you, Tasneem. I can see. Thank you. So here's the thing, right? Where is the lemon? Where is the lemon? Here is the lemon. There is only ever one lemon. There is only ever one lemon. The lemon that you were feeling, the lemon that you were smelling, the lemon that was generating a physical response in your body by creating saliva or a tangy feeling in the throat, that was all created by our mind and by our thoughts. By our mind and by our thoughts. Now, I'm just leaving that with you there. I do this with the start of my hypnotherapy sessions because it creates this perspective that the mind is really, really powerful. The mind, yes, and people can still feel saliva in the mouth, which is great. The mind can create things, and the mind sometimes has difficulty understanding what is actually imaginary, what is real and what is imaginary. And we can work with that in hypnotherapy, particularly people who are having stress days or anxious days, or maybe in my particular case, who maybe have experienced traumas 20, 30 years back. We can work with these things that are in the mind and stored in the mind. So I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen just to close out. Where's my browser? Where's my browser gone? Here we go. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. So I played around a little bit there with the creative side of the mind and the logical side of the mind. The logical side of the mind was screaming out at you saying, there is no lemon there, there is no lemon there, there is no lemon there. Your creative imaginary side was going, there is a lemon, there is a lemon, there is a lemon. And we can work with those in hypnotherapy sessions and counseling sessions and mindfulness sessions. And I know that we're going to be talking a little bit about mindfulness a little bit later. So just in closing, I will be offering up a free coaching session, probably at the back end of August. That coaching session will be about burnout, bounce back ability. So it's going to be about burnout. Burnout is all about working with logical side of the mind. It's also working with the emotional, creative side of the mind. So this free coaching session will be late August. It will be a group workshop, around 45 minutes. At the end of that, there'll be a discounted package for anybody that wanted to take one-to-one coaching with me. It will be interactive like this 15-minute session has been, and it will be on Zoom. So if you connect with me on LinkedIn, look out for my bounce back ability videos on LinkedIn and YouTube. And finally, if I can move one more slide. Yep. This is my favorite meme, which I look at really, really regularly, not every day, probably 2 or 3 times a week. And one day, just like that, and here we go into this imagination thing. If I can really believe this, and one day, just like that, I'll rediscover my light. I'll embrace my inner warrior. I'll snatch my power back, and my whole game will change. And if I believe that, just in the same way that you believe that there was a lemon in your hand, then you can really start to regain power in your life again. And with that, closing thoughts. I will then hand back, I think, to Kavita, maybe, just to then hand over to our next speaker. But thank you very much for that opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart. That was very interesting. All of us felt lemon in hand and in mouth, and many of us seeing that, yes, the saliva is still in our mouth. So that's the power that if involvement is there, one can experience. So thank you for that experience, Stuart. And I will now request, I'll introduce Neeru Verma, health and wellness coach. She is a senior yoga teacher from International Shivananda Yoga Center. With over 15 years of experience, she is the founder of Divine Grace Wellness. She conducts freelance workshops on wellness for different institutions. She is also a guest lecturer at the School of Happiness, Ramanujam College, Delhi University. I welcome Neeru Madam and request her to start her presentation. Over to you. You are on mute, Madam.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. And as you have introduced me, I am a yoga teacher. And recently what we are going through is a very, difficult time. And we have realized that health is the real wealth. So we really have to take care of our health because of this pandemic. All of us are, having some problem or the other. So during this time, how we can take care of ourselves with yoga, meditation, and the diet. That's how I help people. And recently, after the COVID, how you can recover yourself holistically. That's what I'm working on. There are a lot of side effects people are having after COVID. So, like hair fall, weakness, stress, anxiety, and how in this yoga can really help. And actually, health is not only the physical health, it is also your mind, body, and soul. And the balance of that is yoga. As Stuart has also mentioned, that thoughts are very, very important. So nowadays it's more of a mental problem than the physical problem. So yoga and right diet and meditation. And yoga has 5 parts actually. It's proper breathing, like the pranayams we do, and proper diet, proper food, proper relaxation, proper exercise, and positive thinking and meditation. So when we combine all these things, then we can live a holistic life. And people have a lot of problem nowadays about relaxation. They have forgotten how to relax their body and mind. People are not able to even sleep. That is also a lot of problem, side effects of COVID people are having. So in that, how we can help with the yoga nidra, meditation, pranayams. And when COVID actually really affects our entire body, and especially the 3 systems, respiratory system and digestive system and nervous system. All these 3 systems are deeply affected after the COVID. So in this, I also had, recently gone through this problem in April, and I had mild symptoms. So I recovered very fast with when I followed all the things. That's why I wanted to share. When you combine, it's okay to take medical help, but if you combine other things, for example, that immunity booster kada and tulsi vatti, giloy vatti. And I can give you that example, and that when I lost that sense of taste. And and sense of smell. And in that, that Ramdev's Corona kit, there is a nose oil, which you put in your nose, that oil. And if you, I tried that in just after one dose, I felt that, I'm getting that sense of smell back. So it is so powerful, all these things. So if we combine these things holistically, and apart from with our medicines, of course, we have to, if we need, we can take medicines also, medical help also. But if we combine with the diet, there are some energy giving foods, and the diet is also very, very important factor. And yoga, meditation, if you combine all these things, then how you can recover faster. And my hair loss, I was losing my hair, so rapidly. But within 1.5 months, combining all the things, and of course, I had this homeopathy medicine also. So all these things, when you combine, then you recover so fast. That's what I'm working on these days, on how to recover after COVID holistically. And strength, regaining your strength back is a very, very challenging time, because the weakness comes after COVID. So how you can retain your strength, combining the food, meditation, yoga, pranayam, and I think we are going to have discussion on this. If anybody has any problem or any question related to health, and especially after how we can recover holistically after COVID, so they can contact me. And on a one-on-one session also, after the session also, they can talk to me. If they have any question, they can ask me. If anybody has any question related to this, they are most welcome to contact me or talk to me or ask me. Or we can discuss later on after the session.
तो अभी मैडम यदि वहाँ नहीं हो
Yeah, thank you, Neeru madam. I will request the participants to post their questions, if any, in the chat box, and we will take it up.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Is there a way, is there a way,
Ramakrishnan sir, you are asking a question?
can you work together to make this possible? वो appear करेगा, आपके पास भी दूसरा lawyer है जो appear करेगा.
So over to the next speaker, ma'am. You can.
Yes, I'm introducing. Yeah. So I will introduce the next speaker, Larry Lesaik, executive business coach from USA. He is a quality specialist, executive business coach, and a speaker. Richfield, Ohio, United States. He has worked in sales and marketing. He is an experienced salesperson and solo entrepreneur. The board chairman working with entrepreneurs, board of directors, managers, decision makers, and leaders of the industry. He is also an assertive business development professional and investor. And I'll request Larry to start his presentation and thank him for being part of this panel. So over to you, Larry.
Well, good evening, Bombay
Good evening.
Management Association members and any guests that are in this audience. I'm glad everyone can make it today. For me, it's morning, so I'm just getting up. I know for you it's later in the evening, but welcome to Ohio, USA, and Cleveland. I'm glad I could join you from over here. I love technology, so it makes the world a lot smaller because we could all get together and share, right? So with that being said, thank you for the introduction. I am a serial entrepreneur and a recovering engineer. I like to tell people I left NASA 20 years ago as a quality engineer and went into business ownership and entrepreneurship and investing. I find I can utilize my talents better in being an entrepreneur and expanding wealth for people than sitting in the office and inventing things and making sure shuttles don't have any accidents. So with that being said, I know our living a meaningful life is the topic of discussion today. And I do have a Wheel of Life file that I'm going to share, or if Rashmi can share it in the chat. But getting balanced life is really where we want to get. In management, we need to help not only ourselves have a balanced and meaningful life, but everyone that we're managing or in the business environment, in the management arena, we need to help our people have a balanced and meaningful life so they're happier employees, so they come to work more productive, and they are more successful in their life, their personal life and their business life as employees, and they're able to grow with the company, move up, and maybe get into management themselves or become entrepreneurs. In Ohio, I work with a group of people, job seekers. So some of us business owners, we get together and we work actually with helping place people into jobs, which I feel is a necessary, thing that we need to do is to help people find the right fits and the right job. So just because you have skills in a resume, I have engineering skills on my resume, but that didn't always lead into becoming the best entrepreneur I can be. It was a change. I had to learn new skills as an entrepreneur that I did not learn in school, through all the engineering school that I went through. And with quality, if there's any quality engineers in this audience, in management, when you're managing quality, Dr. Deming always said that quality is a top-down decision. So like Stuart was saying, your vision of that lemon in business, we have to have a vision of where our business is going. We have to see it before we can get there. And a lot of times it's not tangible, as we're developing it. Same thing with management. When we're developing new management systems, they're not always tangible. We have to see them before we can develop them out and get them to work. So that's a little bit of my background in what I do. And when I work with owners of companies. As an owner of multiple businesses myself, I love working with the owners and the board of directors and management teams, and then into the quality in other fields. So I can do training in all the areas, but I really like working with the owners because I really think business ownership and the management is a top down. So you're the one creating that environment for your employees, for the people working in the business, and you're the guiding light for everyone that you have. My business name is Heroic Endeavors because I believe we need to be the heroes when we step out and we're having people follow us. We need to be the heroes for them and set the examples and create the environments that they're successful in. And I see someone else on my screen, but what I would like to really do is I would like to spend some time, if anyone has specific questions that we can help solve a little bit, so you get an idea of what a good coaching session looks like versus a consulting session. Now, I could have easily gone into consulting for business, and I have many people ask me, why don't I become a consultant? And I believe that consultants are really good. They come in with their ideas and implement them into your companies. But I think a coach helps you become a better performer with your skill set than taking on someone else's ideas. And what I mean by that is Tiger Woods, great golfer. Everyone probably knows who Tiger Woods is. There is nobody that's going to be able to, as a coach, probably play golf as good as Tiger Woods. But Tiger Woods has multiple coaches to help find those blind spots, to help him improve just that fraction better and more every time because he can't see things and he needs those things pointed out. So that's what a good coach does. Even though a coach may not be as good as you in your profession because you are the expert at what you're doing, a coach can help you find some of those blind spots so you can improve on things that you're not even aware of that just take your, 1 degree, one slight improvement, one aha in your life will make a huge difference down the line. And that's what good coaches do. And I always say professionals hire coaches. All professionals have coaches. No matter what team you're on, there's a coach, and professionals have coaches. Amateurs don't hire coaches, but amateurs pay to play the game. Professionals get paid to play the game. So that slight difference in being an amateur to professional is going to make a big difference in the life of meaning that you're living and the balance that you have, because good coaching will help you balance everything out. What I would really like to see, if you want to put some questions in chat, or if you want to unmute yourself. Yes,
can I ask a question? Yeah.
Yes, please.
What role does the willpower, that is, they call it self-control, play in getting to high performance or leading a meaningful life?
Self-control.
Control or willpower, as they call it. Willpower.
Okay, willpower. Got it.
What role does it play in leading a meaningful, successful life?
Well, willpower is very important for getting you started, getting the momentum going. But willpower alone doesn't keep you going there. You need a big why, a reason why to do something. Willpower will get the momentum going, but your reason why will push you along and move you along a lot farther than just willpower. There's so many people. I mean, if you look at starting an exercise program or losing weight, people start with all this willpower. They got this idea they're gonna lose weight, they're gonna exercise, they're all gung ho, and they're gonna go out and 7 days a week work out. What do? They end up burning themselves out, right? So all this willpower after a couple of weeks, yeah, they still have the willpower, but now they're starting to mentally sometimes make excuses, or they get injured because they're overly ambitious and they don't set that good pace to keep working. So if you have a good pace and a good plan, it's going to do a lot more for the long-term success than willpower alone. But willpower does get you up out of your seat. It gets it, all the power. When I was at NASA, the liftoff is where all the rocket fuel is used. Getting that initial inertia, that to me is where the willpower comes in, to get up, to get going. But once you get into orbit, it's a lot easier. You have a lot less energy. And if you have a good system, and I'm a firm believer in systems. NASA runs everything on systems. My martial arts background, everything is a systemized. Martial arts is a system to go from a beginner to mastering something. Yeah, willpower will come into play on the days that you're not feeling it, not into it. But if you have that good system, then you could just manage that system a lot easier and just keep working forward without burning out, without hurting, and without overexertion. Does that answer your question? Or
yes. Thank you so much. I realize the importance of system, because in our culture we always nudge our children and the younger adults that you don't have the willpower, so you study hard, etc. And like you rightly said, they burn out or they give it up because they have no system to back it up, those initial efforts. So then again a peak and then a plateau, and then again nudging, again peak and plateau. So overall experience becomes very painful, and people don't build on their previous peaks. So therefore the average performance remains the same low, and it does not rise step by step. As you described, what good system can do, moving around in the orbit successfully with the good system. So I think that's a very important point.
Yes, it's a lot easier to brush your teeth every day than to try to go in and get a cavity filled. It's much more painful to get the cavity filled. If you just do a little bit every day, you're going to be in a lot better place. And I'm going to also point one other thing out that is employees and as entrepreneurs, especially myself, I've spent time burning out because I put so much time in my business that I've neglected sometimes family, vacations, you know, trying to get businesses going. And I have learned, and I just want everyone, if I could leave everyone with one concept, I want to leave everyone with the idea that schedule your personal self-care and your time off and time with family and the meaningful things in your life. Balance it out, schedule that time, and don't feel guilty for taking it. It's very important to go out and Stephen Covey used to call it sharpening the saw. It's very important that you go out and do something different than just working all the time or stressing about your business or your role in management. It's very important to go out and live the other roles and not feel guilty about doing it. So when you're at work, give it 100% at work, or in your business, give it 100%. When you're out playing, when you're out with the family, give that 100%. There's no reason to feel guilty and work for missing a good day that you should be enjoying outside. But then when you get outside with your family, to be worrying about the things at work. And that's really what being in the moment and being mindful is all about, and having that balance and not feeling guilty about it. And I think that's where a lot of people over COVID have kind of lost track, because everything shifted and maybe they're feeling guilty about not working or not being able to work or not knowing how to balance out the new pivot to a new Zoom culture where we can't be in person and all these other things. So, I mean, just something to think about. Be in the moment, but give your moment the all. You know, if it's with your family, it's with everything else. Any more questions? And I want to ask Rashmi, are you able to get that file in the chat? If not, I will post it.
I'm not able to do it. You please do it and just have an introduction. That's about it. What is it and how they can use it. Yeah.
Yeah, I will get a file for the wheel life balance that we put together for this presentation, to help you realize where you're maybe out of balance, where you have some flat spots, and where you can create a better balance in your life. So is there any other questions? I'd love to hear from anyone else that has any.
There is one question in chat box. Is it the determination to change and accept the change? Is it critical to success?
Is it the determination to change and accept the change? Well, determination is a strong personality trait that you're going to need to change. I'm not sure I'm 100% understand the question. Can someone maybe fill in that question a little bit more, who asked it?
I will request the person.
Oh, they can unmute if they want to. If they want to ask.
Madam, please.
Yeah, sir. What I actually meant was, since Indrapal sir asked about willpower, and that is where you spoke about the curves, ups and downs. In context of that, actually, I posted that question immediately, that only willpower may not be sufficient, but if the person develops the determination to achieve something, and for achieving that, if whatever changes are required to be done in the person himself or herself, as well as accepting the changes which may occur in surrounding. I asked that question in that context. Will it actually determine the success of person to achieve something?
Well, determination is really important for moving forward, but I have coached very determined people that were so determined sticking on a path that they chose that they didn't realize at times they need to modify what they were trying to do. So we need to be determined, but we can't be attached necessarily to outcomes. So we got to work hard, but some of the outcomes we can't be detached. I mean, if I wanted to lose 10 pounds by next week, I probably ain't going to do it. So I can't be attached to that outcome, but I can lose 10 pounds in 3 months. So I could be totally determined to lose 10 pounds. But if I'm attached to the outcome of it being next week, that's probably not realistic. But in
Correct.
2 months, it
Realistic
varies.
goals also are required. True.
What's that?
Realistic goals are also required. That is also true.
Yes, yes.
But
And
but the determination also should be attached to achieve those realistic goals.
Yes, well, I mean, you set the goals and then you have to be determined to get them. Yes. And one of the most powerful ways to keep your determination up is knowing why you're trying to reach the goal. So having real clear idea of your why. And I'm not talking like, hey, I'd like to buy a new car or a new boat or something like that. I mean, the real why behind things is like, I'm working hard now and I want to reach this goal because I want to spend more time with my family, or, you know, something that's emotional to you and not just tangible will also help fuel that determination, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Can I please ask a question?
Yes, please.
Neeru ma'am, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we are talking on the meaningfulness, well-being in life, and somehow I think we are stuck on success only.
I didn't catch all that.
Harvinder ji, we will take this question. You may post it in the chat box. Your voice is not very clear, so please put it in the chat box. We will take it. Yeah. So Larry, thank you for your presentation.
कविता जी, एक छोटा क्वेश्चन और था, if you allow me to ask. One small question.
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Larry, this Dr. Deming's philosophy you mentioned about managing quality, is that still valid in today's digital age?
Oh, I absolutely believe everything that Dr. Deming was talking about is still valid today. And actually, if you study Dr. Deming, he originally came up with his ideas of statistical process control and quality for AT&T, for Ma Bell. Remember telephones back in the day? So that was a digital type system that they were monitoring. And then it got applied to manufacturing and everything else. But it really is, if you take the statistics and monitor and know what to measure, even us personally, if we're measuring and being accountable for what we want to achieve, we're going to have a better quality outcome than just winging it and not measuring anything and not knowing where we're at. So yes, I do believe measurements in Dr. Deming's philosophy of quality and the mindset of quality is still relevant today and important, as important today as it was back then. I know we've added black belt and lean manufacturing and other ideas into it, but those are just built on the same philosophies. They're expanding that philosophy and not detracting from it. I don't believe. If that makes sense, or do you agree?
I do believe so, but then whenever I talk of Dr. Deming, people say that you're talking about the era of 60s and 70s, 50 years behind the current times. So often it is difficult to get across those ideas. I am a Demingian, so to speak, in my philosophy, because it respects people and it builds on the people's strength. It's more about people than about statistics in the true sense of the word. So anyone seeking higher performance have to have that kind of mindset to treat people right. And that's what will get us the high performance, supported by measurements and the systems and so on. But the people first was his philosophy, the key of the whole thing. So I think that's the point often missed. People think it's all measurements and quality charts and stuff like that. So,
yes. But remember, and I love what you're saying, because really it's it's managing processes
Yeah.
and allowing people to be the experts at what they do. So you don't have to manage people if you manage the processes, and the people will produce the quality by good thought out processes. And it's totally relevant. But yes, people think that they're, you know, it was something back in the 80s and it was all relevant back then and it's no relevant now, but we've built on it. We haven't gotten rid of it. So yeah, I get the same thing all the time. I bring up but we're still doing, I still work with quality. I still sell SPC gauging equipment for statistical process control, and I still teach the philosophy of manufacturing to manufacturers and service industry too, because service industries, bookkeeping, anything you could run statistics on and seeing where you're lagging and create better systems and better outcomes. You know, I mean, bad bookkeeping system is going to give you a bad set of books at the end of the year, and you're going to be miserable. If you have a good bookkeeping system and you're tracking it, at the end of the year, you're a lot happier. So.
I would like to add here that it will apply to educational institutions also, because in today's audience, there are many academic institutions are participating. So I suppose I want to make a point that Dr. Deming's philosophy is even relevant for educational institutions, particularly the schools.
Absolutely. Totally agree. So.
We have one more speaker, our own member, Madam Rashmi Sharma, who was instrumental in putting up this particular webinar. Rashmi Sharma is a mindful teacher and a practitioner. She has a total work experience of over 2 decades and 10 years into training. She is currently a mindful coach and a life coach, director at Gyana Rashmi Trainings, master trainer at NSDC, Government of India, and CBSE for soft skills and communication, time management, leadership, motivation, master trainer. I'll request Madam Rashmi Sharma to start her presentation.
Thank you so much, Kavita Madam, for giving me this opportunity I'm able to hear, talk to people and present my views. Before I start, I just requested Larry to please put that Wheel of Balance document in the chat. So that is a gift for the people so that they can assess their lives based on the different areas, how they are going and how their life is balanced and meaningful. Second, I have also shared a link where they can get an opportunity as a free gift coaching session with any one of us if they fill that registration form. And that form is solely for the purpose of providing you this free facility by these coaches. So with that, I would just like to start my session. And I request each and everyone to please shake their body a little, relax. And please don't do this exercise if you are driving. For a moment, relax your body, take a deep breath, close your eyes, breath deep down to your belly, and exhale. So, and then just come back to the room, become aware here in the room. So for this moment, was your mind quiet over something popping up in your mind? It just came. I'll just share my screen here, presentation with you.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Hello.
One moment.
We can see it, madam.
Cosmina ma'am is here. Just a moment, you will be able to see it now.
Rashmi madam, you need some support?
No. I just want to share my screen. I know the file was wrong. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just asked what happened to your mind when we were just into deep breathing. It was quiet or making some noise. Because what happens generally, we think about 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every day, and 90% of them are similar thoughts. So, what are thoughts actually? Thoughts are the first step. The whole process of our life starts with it. And they just pop up in our heads, and we do not have any control on this process, that they will keep on coming us. So we can pause for a moment, but ultimately, our mind is full with the thoughts. And the next thing is that whenever we think about something, what happens? The thoughts, we have millions and millions of neuron connection in our brain. And whenever we think about a thought, has a neuron connection based on it. We can choose, the good thing is that we can choose the response to our thoughts if we can choose to stop the thoughts. And then every thought has a attached feeling or emotion to it. And the type of emotions we feel is the quality of thoughts we keep. If we are keeping thinking about the negative things, the sad events, what we will feel? We will feel low, we will feel negative, and maybe sometimes we can be angry. And this is the result of actually the hormones which are released by the neuron connection, which is made by the thoughts. And the emotions are stored in our body then. So our body is the storehouse of our emotion. Our brain is the storehouse of our thoughts. Then what happens if it comes? So because we are having some feelings, we are having some thoughts, now the next step comes, how do we behave? We take action based on our experience, how we feel, the emotions, and then this becomes our habits, because continuously we are doing the same thing. As I told you, we are thinking about the same thoughts every day, and then we are having the same feelings, same experiences. The same experience result in the same actions again and again, and when we do it for a short time, they are become our habits, our attitudes, and we do it in the same way. And the neuron connections now, because they are connecting again and again with together, they become stronger now. And then in the long run, what happens? We keep on doing not only for weeks or months, but we do it year after year and year after year. It's a long term. So it becomes our personality and it becomes our identity then. It is embedded in our daily routine, and it creates our personality, our identity, and which actually creates our reality. And the neuron connections are now hard to break. That is what happened after we reach the state of, after 20, 30 years, we decide to change something, to do something different. It's really, really very difficult to do it us, because we are now under the control of our body, under the control of our brain, that is the neuron connections. We have to break them for a change. And all these personality recreates our reality, destiny, or whatever the outcomes, because we are meeting the same people, thinking the same thought, having the same feelings, taking the same actions. And this is what we call it as our life, year after years, after 20 years, 10 years. And these are the situations we are in. They may be desired, they may be undesired, not welcome, but we have to face them because they have step out of our thinking, our feeling and thinking. Then what happens in the same reality gives again birth to the same thoughts, and the same thoughts again create the same emotions and same feelings. They prompt up into the same actions and behavior, and then we have the same results. So we are into a vicious circle of our thoughts, feelings, and behavior. And we call it, okay, my destiny is just like that, I can't do. So we are into this vicious circle again and again, going into round and round. And anything that, we think about is coming back to us. So we always live in our past. What happens, suppose you have a routine, you get up, you sleep on the same bed every day, every night, on the same, almost same time, on the same side. You get up in the morning in the same way, have the same thought, go to the washroom in the similar fashion, open the tap in the similar way every day. Yes, we have a lot of routines to follow. We do follow the routines. And then, so what happens every day? Our today is similar to our yesterday. So are we living? And then that this keeps on going on. We go to past or go to the future, but today will become tomorrow, the same day. No change, approximately. So how can we say that we are living in the present? In fact, we are living in the past. And whatever happened in the past many years ago, we still carry the burden of that past with us. How does it happen? Let's have a small experience here, small exercise. Again, I will request, if you are driving, please do not take part in exercise and just keep on listening. To all of other of you, I will just say that please relax a little, close your eyes, and recall a moment from your life. Go as distant in the past as you can go, which was a conflicting memory. Something, some conflicting or something which was not, you were not feeling good into that. It's like it was. So, and this, you have to recall the specific event, the experience, not just how you felt, a small emotion type of thing, but give attention to how it started, how it ended, the whole event, but very specific one. Go to the specific things into. If you're there, now, what are the impressions you have of yourself in that memory at that time in the past? And what are the impressions you have about all of the other people who are associated with this memory of the past? How are you feeling about that? And now, just think a little deeper and see how this memory has contributed to your personal history or behavior or actions in the past. Now think that how this experience which you had back had impacted the way in which you relate to yourself today in the present moment. And then think about the same experience which had happened. How had it impacted the way in which you relate to other people today?
We are unable to see the screen, madam.
I'm not showing the screen. I was just asking the questions. Are you able to see me?
Yes, we can see you. We can see
Yes,
you.
yeah. I had stopped screening before we went to this exercise. So you see, a past memory, something, especially this happens in our teenage, some experience happened with our parents specifically, and carry on that burden from the past to the present. People, that is what the saying goes. First impression is the last impression, or we call it a halo effect. So what we do, what we have some memory in the past, the way we felt or behaved at that time, we carry that same emotion with us in the present form. So yes, as I told you that many of the things we cannot change, but the thing is that we can do is we can be aware that what we are doing. Next morning, like if we don't even we live our life most of the time with the habitual actions on autopilot system, with unconscious way. We get up, we go to the washroom, we don't even know which hand extends to open the tap in the wash basin. How we take our towel, or how we take our take a cup of tea or coffee out of our habits, we don't even notice how it's happening. So but we doing it in the similar way every day, but we can be aware of this situation. Oh yeah, this is, I am here. So I'll just share in the end, before you go to some question answers, a small story about a man who was shipwrecked in a remote island, and he saw the civilization there. It was a very unique civilization. The inhabitants were actually, you know, unlike of the rest of the world, they were actually very sane. And the first thing the man notices there, the beautiful colored parrots perched on the branches of the trees, and they were continuously croaking the same words: attention, here and now. Attention, here and now. So this is what I have taken this story from this book, Island, written by Aldous Huxley. So the present moment, that is why I just in the beginning of the session, I try to feel you that that moment where you can stop your thoughts coming up into. We cannot stop. We can respond in a different way. We can be aware of what's going on. This is the first step towards changing our personality or reality. When we become aware, we can notice and we will know more, because there will be a gap in our instant reaction to any thought or any feeling. Then we can take a pause and use our free will to decide what we need to do. So thank you so much. Over to you, Kavita ma'am, now.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi madam. There are some questions in the chat, and also we can request the participants to unmute themselves by raising hands, and then we can have the comments and questions. Before we start, I will request Ernest Fernandez sir, our past president, to give his comments.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. Very fascinating insights on coaching. But and very interestingly, coming from different countries, from India, from England, from America. And so I have just a small question to ask Stuart and Larry and our Indian speakers. Is it related also to the culture of each country? What is a meaningful life? Like in England, what is a meaningful life? Is it different from a meaningful life in America? In America, it seems to be largely challenging work. Job satisfaction provides a meaningful life. In England, it seems to be more connected with going on a good holiday. That makes for a lot of meaning in England and France. In India, it seems to revolve a lot around faith and family. So is the context of a meaningful life country dependent or country specific? Could each of the speakers just give a small comment on what I have said?
So I've just unmuted, so hopefully you can hear me, and therefore I'll go first. And that is a great question. So I've been coaching now probably in training for at least 5 years and practicing for about 18 months in a professional capacity. And this has been one of the things that I have had to develop myself, is to, when I work with international clients, is to bridge that gap between my understanding about what a meaningful life means to what my client actually means a meaningful life means. And you can make some assumptions about where a particular client actually comes from, but even making assumptions that I'm speaking with American, say I'm coaching Larry, I could make some assumptions about Larry. Larry and I can talk like this because we know each other. I could make some assumptions about Larry because he's coming from the USA and Ohio, but actually I would need to ask him a few questions to make sure that those assumptions that I have are actually correct, and to actually get the client to describe to me what happiness or success or good meaning means for them. So it is I personally believe that this is a journey that all coaches and everybody actually has to go on to understand those cultural differences between the clients that we work with. And just to give reference again to the life balance questionnaire that Larry spoke about, I think actually that helps to shape what success or what happiness or what meaning means for a particular person when they complete that. I'll be quiet now and let somebody else have a go.
I'll jump in since Stuart called me out. So, this is the way I start a coaching session, which is a blank sheet of paper, because even though culturally we have maybe differences that our cultures teach us that we should consider as a meaningful and purposeful life, I believe that as individuals, we make those decisions based on what we want and what we need in our goals. So even though we tend to society in society wrap ourselves into this cultural thing. I think we're all individuals, and I think as individuals we decide what is important to us, and it's not our cultures or our countries or anything else, you know, our backgrounds. So when I start coaching people, I always start with a blank sheet of paper, and I let them tell me what is meaningful for them, and that's what we work on. It's not what I determine is meaningful for them. So hopefully that helps.
Right.
And I would just like to add, sir, here, because though we may call it like, you know, we are one country, India, but India is a country full of diversity. Like I am from the north and came to live in the south for some time, few years there, and I found that a lot of difference between. So here again we face in India, and so yes, it takes time to understand what the culture is. The work culture is a totally different. The other things are different. So you know they are. I found Bombay I was in Bombay, and I found that there is people take work as a very prime important thing. They are just not, you know, in North India we see like, okay, it chalta hai, you know, just we'll do it, we will do it. It's a little lazy attitude towards here. So, and in the further south, I found that the honesty is the most, thing that they just want to. People do not wear mask over there. They just be very straightforward to you. And as I agree with Larry, that it depends on the individual, though the individual life is also influenced by the primary years of their life, like mainly the up to 15 years, when they live in the family culture does influence every individual. But that is how the asking question is really helpful, that what the person is looking for, and having a little understanding maybe from the person itself is a little helpful. Thank you.
And as per my understanding, I feel that it doesn't matter, because human beings are human beings everywhere. Whether you are in India or America, and everywhere, people are people. And what is a meaningful life is how a person feels about himself or herself. You know, that is very, very important. And we did a survey about this happiness, like what is happiness. So people have different ideas about what they. Happiness is a very relative thing for everybody. Some people say, so there is a difference between happiness and pleasure also. And for somebody, happiness like can be having my family, traveling, even we did a survey and somebody said having chocolates give me happiness. So, you know, the different people have different ideas. But what is the meaningful life? What is a happy life? Is that whether we are really happy with ourselves, and how I feel about myself, and what I am doing is contributing to the world in some way, and whether I have a goal in my life. That question that Larry asked, Larry said that why should be important, that why do you want? So whether you have a goal in life, that is a meaningful life. You should have a goal in life, and it should be something which is contributing to the world, which is helping the people. So that gives you that inner peace and that happiness. I think that is a meaningful life.
Can I
Thank
just
you.
jump? Can I
Yeah.
jump in just with one additional thought? And it's not a thought; it's a question for everybody, which I'm not looking for people to answer. But it is your own personal definition of a meaningful life the same as it was 10 years ago?
No.
Or is it the same as it
changes.
was 20 years ago or 30 years ago? Now, I'm not looking for you to answer that question. I'm just asking you to ponder that thought. Whether Stuart's version of what a meaningful life was when I was 20, is that the same as what my definition of a meaningful life is now that I'm 58? Interesting thought.
It keeps on
Yeah.
changing. It keeps on changing, because you grow with life.
I think Harvadan Vandan Kaur Bedi is having similar kind of question. I'll request her to unmute herself and ask the question. Madam Harvandan Kaur.
Audible, ma'am? Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, this thing of giving a blank paper and saying that write what is the meaning of life, meaningful life for you, won't it be affected by the subconscious and even the conscious biases of the uh,
Of the respondent.
world becoming a global village, so we getting biased by it? And yes, age is another factor. Like they said, SOS is now sensible, older, and slower.
Yeah,
So,
Larry, you may take it first.
so 10 years before and now, the meaningful life, I don't think it can remain the same for most individuals, at least.
I'm just, can I just answer real quick? We are
Let's see.
influenced by culture, by TV. We are sold on every commercial we see. So we get influenced that having this or having that or taking this pill or that pill or doing this or doing that makes a meaningful life. But in reality, that is just something we are being sold by our culture or our environment, but that does not necessarily mean that that's a meaningful life for us. And as pointed out, as we come into the different stages of our lives, you know, spring, summer, fall, winter of our lives, the meaning of our life changes, and who we are with will also change the meaning of our life. So we do get influenced, but we always have to guard on that, because if we sit down and actually know our why and what is most meaningful to us, then we will be able to filter out what society and everybody else is trying to influence us with, and know our true essence, our true values, and our true meaning. And that's what I get to when I coach people, is what their true value and their true meaning is, and not what is being sold to them. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that bias is most important.
And trust me, in America, we love to sell everything to everybody all the time. So that's every commercial is selling something. I can't even get on cable TV and not pay for commercials. So
But in America, we love to sell everything to everybody all the time.
So thank you very much. I will request Indrapalji to give his comments at the end.
I think it was wonderful to have different perspectives on what is a meaningful life. And I suppose if one thinks through deeply, then meaningful life definition may not change, because we are not talking about what makes sense in a given situation or in given circumstances, but somewhat much more deeper, much more fundamental than that. So my view on Stuart's question is that it depends on how much thought you give, though at some superficial level, it may appear to be different at different stages of life. But I think the whole point is to examine our lives and see what meaning we are pursuing, how we want to be happy or not, or are we merely drifting along, pushed by commercials that we watch and the Netflix programs that we see, or some common wisdom thrown at us in the media, etc. So I suppose, like in sports, coaching can help us get clarity. And I would personally recommend that if possible, whether you like Eastern philosophy or Western or psychological ones or whichever the branch, ultimately they all lead to the same question, that how to lead better life, how to lead more meaningful life, how to be happy, etc. So I think regardless of the approach, all approaches would make a lot of sense. And for managers, I suppose, instead of worrying all about the targets to be reached and the new heights to be scaled in terms of top line and bottom line, what Larry said, that take time for yourself and schedule time for yourself. And Stephen Covey's famous question that nobody at the deathbed asks a question that it would have been good had I spent more time in the office. So I suppose a striking balance in life is very, very important. So these are my few comments on the topic, but very wonderful. I think it provoked us to seek that lovely balance in our lives and create a meaning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Indrapal
much.
ji.
Thank you so much. Sorry, we could not put that document.
Not audible, madam.
In the chat.
You have to
Please share it
unmute
with
yourself.
the members. No worry.
So yeah, I have mailed it to you. Can we share it? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Neeru madam and Rashmi, for this wonderful interactive session that we had. I'm sure the participants in this webinar are sensitized towards the coaching. As I had made an announcement in the beginning, that time Mr. Shenava was not there. I will request Hoimi to once again flash the thank you note for Mr. Shenava, who has contributed to BMA. Hoimi? Hoimi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shenavaji, thank you so much for your generous donation to the Bombay Management Association. We are very thankful to you.
Is it there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is there. He is there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I don't think it is a big thing at all. Generally, when the people retire, their incomes will drop. So there are lots of shops being offered by the government and society itself. So Bombay Management, in its wisdom, thought those who are retired should be given a life membership in a very good way. But I thought my thing was slightly different. Till the time I retired, my income was on the floor level or lower, but now it is better and better. So I thought this is one way of celebrating my feeling. So this is what I did. This is what I explains.
Thank you.
But
thank you so
if
much.
I have one more minute,
yes, please.
I may like to add in today's talk. There was a question of whether what is a meaningful life changes. Probably I was full of doubt for the last maybe 10 to 15 years ago. I didn't have anything, but now things are crystallizing, but they're changing also. I was very interested to see, I believe a few people wanted to start a religion in UK. They were looking for some abandoned churches where they could propagate it. They had only 3 tenets. Live well. Second was help often. And the third was continuation of this. Live well, help often, wonder more. They seem to have put the wonder more into the highest level. Because once you are able to live yourself well, once you are able to help others, start wondering more. These are the 3 things. Probably in the first one, you could add one word, probably it's implied, live well responsibly. I just want to leave this thought to you. In case anything you want to discuss for 30 seconds or 1 minute, we could do that. Otherwise, we could keep it for some other occasion. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shenavaji. That's great. And we see you in all the webinars. I pray that our association goes stronger and stronger, and your support for BMA continues in future also. Before we close, I will request Hoimi to just play it once again. Hoimi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. In the meantime, I will acknowledge the presence of our past president, Shri Indrapal ji, Ernest Fernandez sir, Shri Ashok Sharma ji, my colleagues on EC, Shri Rajesh Sharma, the Vice President of Bombay Management Association, Kiran Yadav, Dr. Kiran Yadav, the Treasurer, Indranil ji, Arun Chitlangia, and other respected members, Sri BVR Murthy, Prakash Jakate from Academia, Savita Tirak Madam, and thanked all the participants for gracing this occasion.
Okay.
Please, I will request to please turn on the video so that we can have a photograph for the today's event. And the next event is on 4th of August. The event is going to be a little late because we have the speaker from Harvard Business School, Professor Rohit Deshpande. The session will start at 9 p.m. India time. People can join with their dinners, and we will have a session on how to build customer-centric organizations. So do join us on the 4th of August at 9 p.m. This particular webinar session is brought to you by Guru Nanak Institute of Management Studies, and I'm sure all of us will get a great insight in the subject of building customer-centric organizations. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good evening, and to Larry and Stuart, good day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kavita ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Stuart, for making it neat. Thank you, Neeru, and all the members who have participated here. Thank you so much. It is so encouraging for us. Thank you.
Rashmi, could you please share the name of the book you mentioned with Kavita ji? The name of the book.
That is a
Rashmi ji.
life questionnaire. That is a questionnaire on life balance, how to live a meaningful life.
Oh,
So
okay.
because of the security reasons, Larry couldn't share it with. So it will give you some insight assessment to you about your life and how the things.
Okay.
Anybody you share. That is. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, I believe if you fill out the questionnaire that Rashmi has a link to, then we could be able to send you that life
We
balance.
will share it with all the
question.
participants. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Maybe we can close.